template to film videos if I can just pick up and speak from the heart. However, live streams really make me still feel dead nervous, which is so weird because I could talk in front of real people, like, as in, not that you're not real, guys, but I could stand on a stage and speak and feel less resistance to it than doing a live stream, and I have no idea why that is. So I'm going to practice because we've got to get things in our comfort zone. I thought if I go on YouTube, there's probably going to be less people watching, if any, than there is if I go live on like Instagram. So here we are. Hope that you are all well if you're watching this back on the replay. But maybe this is what my YouTube videos are going to look like from now on. Who knows? No editing involved. Not that they're very edited anyway. So I've looked on my school group because I have a school community, which to be honest, I'm a bit shit with because I don't really do much in it. And I need to. So I think I can go live in there as well. But I asked a few weeks ago for like suggestions for any content ideas, and then a few people sent me messages of like things that they'd like me to talk about, and one of them was, what was it? I forgot what it was. See how nervous the live streams made me. Hang on. Oh, it was how to tell the difference. That sounds bright. How to tell the difference between intuition and fear. So I thought that's a very good question because if you are wanting to consciously create something, I feel like I'm very much looking at myself instead of looking at the camera, but never mind, it doesn't matter, does it? We're just finding ways to get out of doing live stream. Um, if you are wanting to consciously create, then it's very important that you are in tune with your intuition because that's your guidance system. Like, you really can't do anything consciously and creating the 5D if you're not listening to your intuition, because that's the very nature of conscious creation, is that it's not like how we're trained to create things in the 3D through logic and through force and through difficulties. It's supposed to be easy, it's supposed to be an unfolding of things that just flow through stepping into the identity. So I think that intuition is a different feeling for everyone, like as in the sort of sensation that you experience as intuition. For me personally, and I've heard that lots of other people experience this differently, so I don't want you to think that this is the way that it will show up for you, but it's like the way that I visualize it is like a Wi-Fi signal coming out of my chest. It's like this feeling of pull towards something or against something. Oh my God, there's 17 people live. I was not expecting that. I didn't think anybody had joined this live. So hi, if you're watching. I suddenly feel very nervous. But it's this feeling for me of like a feeling of pull towards something or a feeling of push against it. So, for example, and I'm trying to think of one that would relate. Now, for me, I used to be really scared of flying, and I knew logically that there was no reason to be afraid of flying on an aeroplane. But every time I would get on one, I would have this voice that would come up. Hi guys. Oh my God, this is so exciting. Hi. Um I'm from Bolton, by the way. Hello from wherever you're watching from. Can see a couple of comments about where you're from. So I'm going to try and not look at the comments for a second so I don't get distracted because I'm terrified of doing lives. But I would get to the airport and I'd be really, really nervous about getting on the plane. I'd start being like, "Ugh," and all of these thoughts would come up. So it would be like a bank of memories of watching things on TV about plane crashes, and all of the noise of the engine would be like louder in my mind than it actually was. I'd be hyper focused on scanning around the environment to see like if there was some kind of threat. It was very logic based. And that's often what will happen with fear is you will get that voice coming up and you'll get that need for, that like logical thing telling you why you shouldn't do this thing. So right now, for example, I'm that voice is coming up for me and it's like, oh my god, what if you say something wrong? Like, what if you need to delete this afterwards? It's all these like logical voices that come up in your mind. That's not your intuition. That is fear. And that fear is based off your programming and the identity that you hold that says that it's not safe for you to do a certain thing. And it is, generally speaking. So intuition is not logical at all. It's just like a knowing. It's just a feeling. And for me, like I say, it's like a feeling of pull or push away from something that there is no logic behind it. It's just a knowing that you should or you shouldn't do something. Oh, thank you so much for subscribing. That's very kind of you. Um, so I would be asking yourself, like, when you get that feeling of resistance to something, whether it's fear or whether it's intuition, base that decision off, am I getting that loud logical voice? Is my mind drawing on a bank of memories that are all negative that are saying, you shouldn't do this thing because of that? Remember when this happened? Remember when that happened? Or is it just a feeling of saying, like, no, this is not right? And you have no logical reason for that. So I think that's the best way to differentiate it is it logical or is it not? If it's not, then it's highly likely to be intuitive. And I think the more that you practice using your intuition, the stronger it gets and the easier it is to like interpret so you can use it more confidently. And it's also something else to consider is it's your first split second thing that comes up. Your intuition is always really the very, very first feeling that you get. And then you will often get your logical part of your mind trying to convince you that it's something else. So for example, like if you were let's say I don't know, like if you were playing like a game, like a right, I'll give you an example. So years ago, I played this game. We were on holiday somewhere and there was like this game on the stage and it was called Open the Box. And you had to pick a key out of a bag of about 6 or 7 keys. And I could see the keys in the bottom of the bag. And immediately I knew which key it was that would open the box. It was just like an intuitive feeling. And I went to get that one. And then I was like, oh no, it's that one. Like, and I was thinking, oh shit, which one is it? Is it that one or is it this one? And I went with my intuitive guidance, the first one that came up, and it was the right one. But your logic will usually try to like stop you and interfere with that intuitive guidance. So that is my experience of what intuition feels like. And some ways that you can practice using your intuition is in everyday life, like be asking yourself, what am I feeling pulled to rather than what's logical? So if you are out on a walk, this is another example of like where this has happened in my life, and they're just really small, like trivial examples, but to show you how it might show up in your life. I often walk in my local area, like in the countryside part of where I live, and when I'm walking, I tend to go down the same route. I tend to go to the same place. Thank you. I'm just reading some of your comments there. Um, so I'll tend to walk on the same path. I'll go the same way. I know where I'm going. It's logical. I know how long it takes me. And then one day I just got that feeling of pull to go down another path. There was no logic behind it. Logically, it probably would have taken longer to get to where I was going, but I went down that path and then I ended up bumping into somebody and having a conversation with a person that I've not seen for years, and that conversation then ended up unfolding in something positive that happened in my life that I was consciously creating, if that makes sense. So even though it seems random, the fact that I listened to my intuitive guidance and that feeling of pull to walk down that path meant that I had met that person, that I had that conversation, and that things unfolded to allow something to come into the 3D that was completely unrelated to me going for a walk. And how many times in your life do you think, oh, I really want to do this, but I should do this? And when we're saying, oh, I should do this, even though you're feeling the pull to do something else, you're not listening to your intuitive guidance, and that is going to keep you stuck in that sort of logical 3D world. So my advice would be to listen to that feeling, ignore the logic, and follow that guidance, because that is always taking you to where you need to be in order for you to get what it is that you desire. So that's what I am going to leave that with. I'll just stay on for a couple more minutes in case anybody's got any questions about like intuition or anything that you want to ask. But I've thoroughly enjoyed doing my first YouTube live stream. I feel like I'm going to do loads of them now because I've brought it into my comfort zone. So thank you so much. I don't actually know how it works properly, so I'm just going to look and check that I've not missed any comments. And I'm hoping that this just like uploads to my channel, hopefully. But yeah, thank you for subscribing if you have. I really appreciate that. And if you found any value while you're watching it on the replay, I would love you to subscribe. And I will see you later. Mwah. Love you, bye.